Okay, so we're back for episode 4 of Loki, of the Weekly Cuts Roundup. Remember to check out our socials on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Weekly Cut. So we'll go through it quickly. We'll start off as usual. Con, to you first. Episode rating?
Episode rating, I'd probably give it a 7.5. Not my best episode,
okay,
but it was good for me. I enjoyed it a lot. It done a lot to progress the story.
Yeah. Brad?
I thought it was a good episode. I'll probably go 7.5, just because of some of the visuals in it, I think. Good episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 8. It was legit my favourite one. I really enjoyed this one. Pretty much along the reasons why you said it, what you said, sorry, progressed it along really well.
Yeah.
And a lot of development, but not stale.
Yeah.
Get what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's go through it quick. So we begin at Asgard. We see young Sylvie being taken. There's a little bit of controversy around this. What did you get used to get the reason why she was taken? She even asked later on, what was the event that I caused to have me taken? And Ravonna just says, I don't know,
sexist.
What do you have any idea why she was taken?
Sexist. Well, I have no idea.
This is what just because it's a little girl. I don't.
This is it. This is what people are saying. That's why it's got a bit of backfire. People are saying basically there shouldn't be a female Loki in the sacred timeline, so she was taken because of that. So nothing to do with her fault, which makes her story a little bit sadder.
Yeah.
Right? She's been on the run and ruined her life, and which she sort of says in the lift scene later on. And she says, "You completely ruined my life. I've been on the run." But it's getting a bit of backfire because people are saying just because she's a girl Loki, that's not right, as we'll talk about the post-credit scene later on. So then we get our first look at the timekeepers. Obviously, this is non-spoilers at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, it's all spoilers, but not the major ones yet. What do you think when you first saw that?
Very generic bad guy lair for
Yeah.
me. But it was... it was almost like, just in case you don't know, these are the guys you need to worry about. Do you know what I mean? It was. It didn't need that. It could have been more subtle for me. But I thought it was quite cool. Couldn't understand one of them.
Couldn't understand the word.
The green one with the moustache.
Yeah.
That's later on, though. We haven't got to that yet. But
sorry.
you are right. I had to put the captions on.
Yeah, but
for that one. The other two you could understand. That one with the green moustache, but we'll get to that bit. That's a bit later.
I think it done the job to make. You knew these were the overseers, and it done the job. Yeah.
I saw the perfect analogy to it, as we'll get to find out later on. It was a very Wizard of Oz setup.
Yes,
it was.
Yeah. We'll get to that a bit later. Anyway, then we get the question about Hunter C20, who obviously was interrogated by Sylvie in the previous in episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
She claimed obviously she's died and she just deteriorated and went a bit more mental. I know this is where you have a little bit of a problem with the whole Loki Sylvie thing, because when we go back to Lamentis,
here we go,
and the two of them are there, the impending doom is happening, they're going to die, and they have a one-to-one conversation. What did you think about that?
First thing I have to say, Tom Hiddleston is such a good actor.
So
it's
good.
stupid how good he is.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. There's a bit in later on, which we'll come to, is just absolutely outstanding. But yeah, I enjoyed it because I think she's quite a good actress as well. But I am so against this arc of story. I don't like the route they've gone down. I don't like the overall, to be honest with you. As much as I love Tom Hiddleston as Loki, I do not like the way they've gone with Loki. I just don't like it.
I think I agree. I know where you're coming from, because this is not Loki.
Yeah.
It's gone a different way.
Yes,
than Loki usually is.
Well, basically, just a quick roundup for me, because it doesn't need much explanation. But bearing in mind, he was just pulled from 2012 at that point. I mean, I think weeks ago in Germany, Stuttgart, he was like laying out Captain America, like with ease.
Just pull someone's eye out.
Really ruthless. Killed 80 people in 2 days, as Black Widow says. And I'm not saying I want him to be like that, but I mean, he is, regardless of him not being Asgardian, he is still a god. And I loved that character Loki. And they've just gone in a completely another direction for a more PG-rated, heartfelt Marvel character, and that's fine. And Tom Hiddleston will carry it well because he's that good. I just personally don't like it.
Yeah, I think I agree.
I mean, he's brought up later on, and this is why I do quite like it. I understand exactly what your point is, and we had this chat before it even begun. Are we getting 2012 version, or are we getting 2019 version, which is more the 2019 route? But obviously, Mobius said it to him a bit later. He goes, it's so symbolic, and you're so full of yourself. Of course, you're only going to love yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that I do quite like that.
It was a good way of.
So anyway, you're wrong. So we move on, and we get a bit more swearing in this one. We brought it up last week, but Mobius, obviously, they come and rescue him from the meds. That looked really good with the planet moon crashing into the planet. That looked just as good. But then we get Mobius rescue him and bring him in for questioning, and calls him an arsehole. Yeah, there's actually quite a lot of swearing in this. Yeah. So going on the PG route, maybe not so much in this series, to be fair. But then we get the introduction of the time loop prison with Lady Sif makes her return. Not very well utilised, really. It was the same bit of, slightly variations of acting over and over again in the loop. But obviously you get this point where Loki says to Mobius, they're lying to you, but I'm very much on Mobius' side here. How are you going to believe him?
Of course not.
You're not going to do that, are you? And then we get the meeting with Mobius and Ravonna, and she won't allow him to interview Sylvie because obviously what she can do to him and prove to him all this stuff. And then we get the interesting line. We've had Kree, Titans, and vampires in the TVA. Now it's a big thing. Kree, we've already got in the MCU with Captain Marvel and stuff like that. Titans, obviously, that's Thanos amongst others. Vampires is new for the MCU at this point. Obviously, we know Blade's coming, so maybe a soft link there, but weird place to bring up vampires.
It's strange. Yeah.
And they're obviously variant vampires as well, because otherwise, why would they be there?
It's not the first time it's been mentioned in the MCU.
No,
vampire.
I know. Called from Ragnarok.
If they stay in close together. Good
little impression.
I thought for the way they're doing with Blade coming, I know Morbius is not in the sort of MCU at the minute, whatever. But cool way of doing it. You're in a good series to say vampire.
Yeah. You could say anything. Werewolves, you do mermaids, you can do whatever you want.
Brilliant.
And then we get Hunter B15 asking, like, what did Loki say to you? Because she's sort of questioning now, obviously, when Sylvie took over her in the Roxcart shopping centre place. Obviously, she saw something as well, so she sort of questioned, and Mobius says, they're lying to me, and just laughs it off at this point. And then it was is this the bit you were talking about where Loki has a little speech with Sif, and you say it was really good acting?
For the acting, when Mobius tricks him. No, the
bit where he's had enough of her keep kicking him and punching him, and he breaks down and goes, she says yours.
No, that was brilliant acting as well. That's not the bit that I thought was absolutely outstanding. But yes.
But that bit was quite good when he breaks down. I was watching it with Isabel, and it was actually quite sad for him. I am scared of being alone.
Yeah,
and she doesn't punch and kick him that time, but she says, you always will be alone, and leaves. I thought it was quite sad, that bit. Then we get the Mobius interview, so this is probably what you're talking about.
That was when he tricked him to say that they pruned Sylvie like an hour ago because she was like fighting him or something. That was top draw for Loki. Outstanding. He got a tear come down. It was just, I know it's quite simple for an actor or whatever, but it was just so powerful. So
you could feel the anger and emotion.
Yeah,
you can feel it all.
Yeah, and it was, I think it's because obviously as we saw Loki progress as a character in the MCU after Avengers, you get a more likable character where he becomes friends with his brother, and they actually are friends and stuff, and cares about his mum and his dad. Obviously, all this information was thrown on him in the first episode, what actually happens, and he calls his mum. We spoke about it before. But then we get the actual bit where he says, Loki actually tells Mobius, you're all variants. You were kidnapped for your own times. You all had life on Earth before this, or wherever you was from. And then the cogs start ticking around with him. Then we get the Mobius and Ravonna. I thought that was really good when he went out to her office, and they was chatting, and she really won't answer anything towards him.
Really vague.
Do you think that Ravonna knows? Because there's a bit later, obviously, we'll get to, but do you think she knows it's all a bit of a sham?
Yeah,
she knows.
She didn't look. We'll get to it actually, but at the end, she doesn't look that surprised about what happens. Does she? But anyway, he's asking like, why I can't interview her. She says, I'm just trying to protect you and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not. She wants to protect this, whatever this is, the TVA thing. And then we get the he nicks the what are they called again?
Time pads or what they're called?
Tem pads. Swaps it over, and then we get the he asks her a lot about what happened with Hunter C20, and she doesn't really want to answer it. And then we get Hunter B15 go to Sylvie's cell, takes her away back, and shows her again her life, and now like she's fully involved. I don't understand why they suddenly do trust her, because she has all this magic, and Mobius does say it to Loki later on. He's like, "Is it not a trick she's done to you?" we actually don't really know, to be fair, but I don't think it is. She did explain it quite well in episode 3. And then we get the Mobius watching the actual video of the interrogation.
Yeah.
We see, she's not mental. She just knows that she had a life. She had been to that bar and she had friends or stuff like this, and then gets pruned. There's a lot of that in this episode.
Multi-purpose, those little 10 pads, isn't they?
They are, yeah.
Recordings, they got recordings on it, files, and Jesus, can travel with it.
It's just a case of when something needs to happen, you can use something that's already there.
He got it. I thought, he's got video of. Oh, gotcha, right.
But then we obviously get Mobius go to the time loop prison thing. Asks, Loki that I believe you. Basically, I believe you. And Loki calls him a friend and that. And then we get a bit that I don't think anyone was really expecting because he comes out and Ravonna had previously asked him, where would you go if you could ever be? And Mobius has the moment where he says, I'd go where I was actually from, and maybe I had a jet ski, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah.
And then just pruned. Gone. Yeah. I genuinely didn't expect that to happen. That. But it was the first real shocking moment of this series until we get to the bit in a minute. But then we get they're all searching for Hunter B-15 now because she's gone a bit AWOL, so she knows the truth. Loki and Sylvie are taken to the timekeepers. So we mentioned earlier, Sylvie asked about the life in the elevator. Just says you are nothing to me, didn't mean anything. And then we get faced with the timekeepers, where it was quite hard to understand a certain one of them.
What is he saying? Oh my god! I didn't even thingy it. I should have subtitled it. I did
put the captions on, but as of right now, I can't remember what was actually said. But that seems to be a common complaint. Like, you couldn't really understand. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it really mattered what they said, because the moment afterwards, Hunter B-15 turns up very heroic. Not quite the heroic entrance that you normally get, but as much as you're going to get with that Hunter, I suppose. Undoes the collars, throws her sword, a fight ensues. And then we get the moment that I think everyone saw coming, the Wizard of Oz moment. She throws her sword dagger thing.
Great shot.
It was a very good shot. Cuts off one of their heads. It rolls down. They're androids. So they're just mindless robots being controlled. Did you notice the other two just started chuckling away? It's like, everyone started laughing, and then they all just shut down, and nothing else happens. But this is the point I was making earlier. Do you think Ravonna didn't really seem that shocked about, because she says right up to the point when she does it, protect the timekeepers, and then that happens, and there isn't really much comeback from it, is there really?
Yeah, I think it's protect the facade as opposed to protect the timekeepers.
I'm not necessarily saying she's a bad guy, but I think there is a bigger bad at work here.
Yeah.
Whether it's the obvious Kang or a lot of theories are saying Miss Minutes is behind it. Quite cool, some of the theories, to be fair. But whatever it is, there is someone controlling it. Maybe that was their laugh of the other two.
Possibly,
But I think she's not maybe being controlled in a way. I don't think she's the big bad, but someone is out there and she's protecting, as Connor said.
Well, we say in the comics, this character of Ravonna Renslayer is Kang's girlfriend and wife in the comics, and he was recently asked. Jonathan Majors recently asked, "Is his character in Loki?" And he just replied with, "I don't know what you're talking about." Didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Again, why not just say no?
Yeah.
Nope. I've not been in that. I've not even started work on Ant-Man and that, which hasn't started filming yet. And then we get the nice little conversation between, Loki and Sylvie when they think everything's done. They're all going to work together. They're going to figure this out. And then the second shocking moment of the episode, pruned. Yeah. Again. They're all being pruned left, right, and centre in this episode. What did you think when that happened? I was shocked.
I immediately thought, I don't know what I'm going to think about this series going forward.
Is it just going to be Sylvie?
Is it going to be Sylvie? And I thought, if it is Sylvie only, my liking for this series would probably drop.
The fear I had, obviously, we'll get to the post-credits, and anyone listening to this has already probably seen that anyway. But the fear I had was then Sylvie would then replace Loki
in the
as Loki going forward, which is not going to work. It's okay if she's a side character somewhere and whatever. It doesn't that wouldn't bother me. But you can't do that. And then we get, obviously she's gone. A little fight ensues between Sylvie and Ravonna, and then she says, it ends with her saying, "You're going to tell me everything," which I don't think we're necessarily going to see in this next episode, purely because of the post-credit scene. Yeah. So that is the first one, the post-credit scene. I think we reported ages ago that Richard E. Grant is in it.
Yeah.
Rumours for ages that he was going to be an older Loki. Turns out true. in a very, very comic accurate, stupid looking suit.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
my question to Craig was going to be, you cannot say, but it's comic book accurate. How bad is that suit?
Yes, very.
It's awful. I can't believe Richard E. Grant's in it.
Yeah, I think that's what surprised
What have they
everyone.
done to my boy?
But then we've got cause it is that would have fit in WandaVision Halloween episode. Do you know what I mean? If he would have just popped up in that when Vision had his older looking suit on, or the childish looking suit. But obviously, anyway, we get Richard E. Grant. Obviously, Loki wakes up in what seems like a destroyed New York, because you have the Avengers Tower that's blown apart and leaning over or whatever. And then we have Richard E. Grant as older Loki. We have Kid Loki. We have Alligator Loki for some reason. And then we have what's basically worthy Loki if he took up the mantle of Thor.
Do the names mean anything to you? Because he's classic Loki, and Richard E. Grant.
Loki,
The big geezer that Scott Munier is boastful Loki.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I've never, and then Kid Loki. And
Do you know what I haven't seen so far, which I'm surprised about?
that?
Boastful Loki's black in the series. He's
And
not in the comics. I haven't
no
seen
one's done a dig- no one's
No,
done a dig
I haven't
about
seen
it.
any digs about
It's
it.
nothing
so
to,
far.
I don't even know the character.
But again, like we said before, you don't have to. If it's especially a variant thing. I mean, he's been a fucking horse at one point and stuff, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised no one said anything. But he's like boastful Loki, so he's the one who becomes sort of a king, and he's basically a Thor of that sort of variant sort of thing. Then you have little alligator Loki and whatever.
Love it.
So he's so weird and wonderful, which is what I used to describe the very first episode. That's perfect to me. Do that. I saw it and thought that's fantastic. Brilliant. Do that. But there's a few things. Two questions I have. Well, no, one question I have for you two is: do you think the pruning thing it does that to everyone? Sends them to a weird where all of your variants are, or is it just because Loki's a god?
I think it does. I'll tell you why. It's because thinking back now, when they're pruned, it looks like they're pixelated and not evaporated.
Yeah.
So I think maybe they go to this place. I don't think we've seen the last of Mobius either.
No, this is my point. Yeah, so I don't think so either.
I hope not. I've got a feeling. I actually just thought about this. I've got a feeling Ravonna done something, and she's not that bad.
Yeah,
saved him. Sort
I've got a funny feeling because I think they do get pruned and gone. I think the variants are pruned and they're non-existent anymore when they do that. But she done it to him from behind, and I've just got a funny feeling she isn't what she's being made out to be.
Yeah.
And I've got a feeling someone done something to get him there with the Lokis, which would be great 5th episode. A bunch of Lokis running
Well,
around.
they said from, I think it's like the second episode, they said episode 5 and 6 are just mental, just weird.
Good.
And there's bloody alligator with Loki out on. So, I mean, it's going to have to be. I completely agree. I think she's tricked into this all as well. I don't think she's
Something's
fully.
going on.
Yeah. But like I said at the start of this, I really liked it, really enjoyed it. Especially just that post-credit scene for me. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
What's Richard E. Grant doing in his little pants?
I guess a reason I wasn't an 8 or something, and maybe I'll be, and I'm holding back, giving the benefit of the doubt, because 5 and 6 might be exactly what's needed to make it a great series, and I still think there's time for it to be branded a great series. But I felt, and what I wrote down here was the TVA arc for me felt very rushed. Like at the end of episode 2, which was my favourite. Was that yours?
It was my
favourite. It was
favourite,
yours. I thought that was a fantastic episode. Yeah. You know, the end, the big cliffhanger of the time reset things getting put through, and all these mad sacred timeline branches, and the TVA went into lockdown. What happened to that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point.
They've just not come back to it and completely missed over. Next, obviously, we get episode 3 is completely out of the TVA, and then when we get episode 4. All of a sudden, the TVA, Mobius is like, something's going on. And I really enjoyed the scene with him, with Ravonna, where he was like asking her questions and he was unsure. And then like it went from A to B very quickly. And I felt it could have had a bit more time spent with the TVA people like B-15, sorry. Her and Mobius just seemed to just completely give up everything they've been working for because of Loki's. And I would have enjoyed seeing them
hopping around different timelines and resetting and stuff.
I thought that was where he was going to go. But I'll give it a benefit of the doubt. But that's why I didn't enjoy it as much, because there was a few holes for me. But yeah. Okay,
well, if there's nothing else to be said, that is episode 4 roundup. New episode out tomorrow. Episode 5, it looks like it's going to be mad. I just want to see Richard E. Grant in these weird little yellow pants and funny helmet. But
fantastic.
He's going to be great, and you could always imagine him as an older Loki. Yes, that fits in perfectly. Anyway, so check out at Weekcut on Instagram and Twitter, and we will speak to you next week.
Yeah.